Charles Darwin was the first to propose the theory of natural selection in 1859. He noticed that all species were perfectly fit for their specific environment and had certain traits to help them survive in it. He observed the similarities between different species and how some were very alike except for certain variations that helped them live in their specific environment. Darwin discovered that it was through the process of natural selection, a mechanism of biological evolution, that these organisms had adapted and would continue to adapt to their surrounding environment. So, what is natural selection? Natural selection is a process through which a population adapts and changes to suit their current environment. Within a population, individuals naturally vary due to genetic mutation and sexual reproduction, meaning that no organism is genetically identical to one another. Variations that give an advantage in the organism's current environment and are inheritable are called adaptations. Any change that puts pressure on a population is called a selection pressure. Organisms with a variation that is beneficial to surviving the selection pressure have a better chance of surviving, reproducing, and passing the trait on to their offspring. With each generation, there is a greater proportion of organisms with the trait. Darwin used the phrase survival of the fittest, where fittest essentially means best suited to the environment and survival means reproduction. This is referred to as the organism's biological fitness. An important part to understanding natural selection is to recognize that no individual organism changes, but the population changes as a whole over many generations. A long, long time ago, a little dinosaur called the Parvosaurus lived on a small island that was covered in lush green forest. These dinosaurs were preyed on by the Magnosaurus, which hunted by watching the forest for movement and signs of the Parvosaurus. The Parvosaurus were difficult to spot as they were a deep green color that blended in well with the surrounding dark leaves and trees. Due to genetic variation, there was also a small proportion of bright pink dinosaurs. These dinosaurs stood out from their surroundings and were therefore often consumed before they could reproduce. This variation is similar to the variation of eye color in humans, and it is also inherited from the organism's parents, but the pink dinosaur were less common due to their disadvantage. During a storm, a strong wind swept over the island, carrying the air from the neighboring mainland, which was covered in bright pink flowers. The wind carried seeds from these plants, and over time, the whole green forest was replaced by huge pink flowers, and there was no green forest left. This put selection pressure on the Parvosaurus's population. Now, the green Parvosaurus stood out among the forest, and the pink Parvosaurus blended in. The green Parvosaurus now had a greater chance of being eaten by the Magnosaurus, and therefore had a lower chance of reproducing. The pink Parvosaurus were now camouflaged among the flowers. This gave the pink Parvosaurus an advantage, meaning that their biological fitness was higher as they were the most suited to their environment. They survived, reproduced, and passed the pink trait on to their offspring. With each generation, there was a greater proportion of pink Parvosaurus in the population, and the green dinosaur became less common. The pink Parvosaurus was already present within the population, it just became more common. The green Parvosaurus was also still present in the population after the selection, but it had become much less common. In this example of natural selection, no individual organism changed. No green dinosaur willed themselves to become pink. The pink Parvosaurus were more likely to survive and reproduce, and therefore became more common within the population. The population adapted as a whole, not the individual. The Parvosaurus will continue to evolve to suit their environment. The flowers could die out and the forest could be green again, and the dinosaurs could be green again. Or a completely different selection pressure could occur, such as the introduction of a new predator or a change in temperature. The Magnosaurus now has more difficulty finding food, so it may undergo natural selection to adapt to hunt better or consume another food source. Natural selection ensures the continuation of all living things and will continue to happen as new selection pressures occur. Thanks for watching.